Coming up on today's podcast, we've got someone who's young, vibrant and exciting. We've got Issy Wong. Now, we recorded this episode just before the 100 began, and we talked to Issy about all things cricket, how she actually got into cricket, why Birmingham Phoenix was the only team for her, and why having a strong support system is integral to be a successful cricketer.
Just to kick things off, just let our listeners know a little bit about how you actually got into cricket in the first place.
So I actually started at primary school. So you get to year 2, right? And you're allowed to join all these clubs if you want to. So it's there's chess club. I went to chess club as well. I was pretty good at that. And then it's football, it's cricket, whatever. So I just signed up for everything. How I ended up at chess. And I went to cricket. It was on Thursday, and I just quite enjoyed it. And it was only an hour, and it was just tennis ball, plastic bats, sort of stuff. Really fun. Loved it. Kept going. Obviously, we got to year 4, and the coaches there at Complete Cricket, they were like, "Look, you're pretty good at this." I was like, obviously I was 9. I was like, yeah, all right, cool. I like it, cool. And they're like, "Why don't you go and play for a club?" So I was like, sound. So my dad was like to the coach, "Where's the nearest cricket club?" And he was like, "Right, it's at the end of the road." So I was like, "All right," trotted off. Went there. They were like, "Look, we think you're pretty good. We want to nominate you to go and trial at Warwickshire for the under 11s." I was like, sad. So I've gone to this trial. I got in and played for Warwickshire ever since. Really, I had a bit of a loan spell at Worcester for a year, but other than that, yeah, I've been at Warwickshire until the last year when it's the Sparks and stuff kicks off. Really.
Now, we did interview your Sparks captain, Eve Jones.
Yeah.
And I feel like this is a perfect opportunity for you to redeem yourself.
She's actually next door, so I might have to get her in and be like, "Look, this is what happened. I don't like you bad-mouthing me."
we jokingly asked her the question, who was the worst driver in the team? And she did say you. So I feel like you need to redeem yourself, because I'm not quite sure she quite relayed the story the way you told us the other day.
So basically what happened, I was coming out of Loughborough, and as you could cross the M1 and there's another road, and they've been doing roadworks on this road for ages, and they'd just changed the layout of the cones. So I'd kind of got used to the layout of said cones, and they'd changed them. So as I've come through, I was the front car at the lights gone green, I've gone forward, and I've gone my usual way, and there was to be fair, there was a car-sized gap in the cones. So I've gone through these cones where I usually go through these cones, and then I've kind of looked in front of me, and there's walls and diggers and stuff, and I'm like, "Oh no." So I've had to reverse out, and people beeping at me "What are you doing?" I've led other people astray. They've followed me in, but yeah, it was a nightmare. But I'm not sure. I don't know how she relayed it, but it was a very easy mistake to make, to put it that way.
Well, yeah, she said to us you just drove through a pile of cones.
No, I didn't drive. I very respectfully weaved in and out of them. Actually, it was quite skillful. You should have been there.
If you need driving tips, ask Issy Wong.
I'm here. I'm here all week, guys.
I'm going to pass you over to Georgie for the next.
You can't go wrong with that.
Can't go wrong with that.
You say you started, it was just under 11, and it's sort of gone from there. I mean, in my brain, under 11 for you is about 3 months ago. Because as an elderly, grey-haired person, you are very young, and people must say this to you quite a lot. But do you feel you feel the pressure of that to be like, "Oh, I'm the young one, but people have got their eye on me"? Do you feel that there's pressure for you to perform and be like, "Yes, I am this young star coming through"? Or is it just "Nah, give me the ball, I'm just going to rack up high 70s"?
Not now. I think I could put maybe a year ago or something. I was a bit put quite a bit of pressure on myself, but certainly I think at the moment I'm just calm, and it's actually quite it's a blessing, because I'm still learning. So look at someone like Eve, she's still learning as well, but she's had a lot more learning. So whereas when I make a mistake, I'm like, "Oh, okay, it's okay, because you're learning, and a lot of these situations you've not been in before. So if you just if it goes badly, then that's fine. We'll just learn from it and do better next time." And hopefully it doesn't go badly, but I think that's the kind of mindset I've got into. If it does, then worst case scenario, I just get better next time. So it's no dramas really.
And also, just on the whole pressure side of things, being mixed race and being half Asian, do you feel a sense of pressure being one of the few in the domestic setup? And if you were to get that call up to England, you'd be the only second Asian player to play for England after Issy Wong. So does that play on your mind at all a little bit, or are you just taking everything as it comes, easy breezy?
I wouldn't say it plays my mind, but you know, it's quite a privileged like position to be in, I guess. You know, there's not many people there, and hopefully that maybe young Asian girls, Asian boys can hopefully in the next couple of years look up and see a few more role models, especially Chinese people of Chinese descent, because there's not that many of us playing cricket. So if we could get more Wongs, then we could have a team, or we could call them a fun name or something. But you know, I think it'd be really good. And obviously, like people say a lot of the time, you can't be what you can't see, and I think that's so important, just visibility and seeing people who, you know, come from similar backgrounds to you, who look like you know, doing things and thinking, oh, I can do that.
So yeah, obviously you say you're still learning and you're getting all these opportunities. Well, you did have the opportunity, at which we were all very jealous of, to go to New Zealand with the England squad. What was that experience like? And do you have any fun, exciting stories that you could divulge?
It was actually like possibly the best 6 weeks of my life. And I mean, 2 of them were in quarantine. So it's really done quite well to, you know, to get up there. But it was, you know, it's just amazing. And I think, you know, all the other girls are saying as well, I think they appreciated everything so much more because of obviously the COVID situation here, to actually be able to go to New Zealand and there's like no COVID, and it was like, okay, like you're free. And we were like, well, what if we want to get a coffee? And they're like, that's okay. And we're like, do we have to wear a mask? And they're like, no. And it's but you know, I think it was just so like, not, I suppose eye-opening is a term maybe, but I think it was just a massive, like, I just loved every second of it, and like just trying to learn as much as I can off the girls on the pitch, but you know, also off the pitch, kind of how they go about themselves and how they represent themselves around, you know, being on tour was really, really enjoyable and really useful, I think.
And do you have any fun stories that you could share?
Any fun stories
from that tour?
What did we do? Queenstown was probably where most, well, I mean, I was concussed for the last week of it, so there's probably little stories coming from that half because I can't remember anything. But we went in Queenstown. Where did we go? Oh, we went on a helicopter. That was amazing. And like we went in this helicopter, and then we were like 15 minutes, and we were on the top of a glacier, and it was just like ice and snow. And Maka, the bowling assistant coach, was on the helicopter, and he's from Perth, I think, and he was like, it's the first time I've ever seen snow. We were like, wow. And then like 5 minutes later, we're on the beach, and then we went up to Milford Sound, and it was just amazing. Like the views are incredible. I was a bit scared, to be fair, because helicopters are always a bit, you know, I just look at them and I think, how do they get up there and how do they get down?
We wanted to take a ball up to a glacier and bowl a ball in the snow.
I have actually got I've got a little boomerang of Tammy, I think, kind of, and she kind of like, threw me a ball of snow, and like I'll catch it. It's pretty cool, to be fair.
There was a video posted to the ECB account of you bowling. I don't know if you saw some of the comments, but they seem to think you were Stuart Broad. Is that something that you take on the chin, being compared to someone else? Or is it a compliment to be, I suppose, compared to one of England's successful bowlers?
Well, like you said, one of England's most successful seamers ever. So, you know, only a compliment. It was a bit of a fluke, to be fair. It just kind of like, literally, it was like first ball. Henry was like, I'm just going to put this here. And then, you know, the accidental Yorker, everyone's got an accidental Yorker. Well, the accidental Yorker came out and like just pinged the phone. And my first thought was, oh no, that's Henry's phone. And like, it's just been hit with a cricket ball. That's not a good sign, but it was all right. So all calm.
And do you think that maybe it was the hairstyle that caused viewers to the confusion? So on the topic of the hairstyles, I was discussing with you yesterday, you had a few going on. Luckily, it hasn't fallen out. Are you going to be dyeing it Birmingham Phoenix colour?
Well, I have actually got a ginger patch at the back, but that's not on purpose. No, so it was blue in New Zealand. That was kind of fun. The funny story behind that, actually. So like a week before Christmas, I was like, you know what would be fun? Dye my hair blue. So bought this blue hair dye. I've read the label and it goes, will wash out in 2 to 3 washes. And I was like, right, wash my hair twice a week. It's out by Christmas. Maybe I'll wash it again, treat myself. I'll be fine by Christmas. Christmas came and went. I was still blue hair. 3 months later, I still had blue hair. I couldn't get rid of the stuff. And I ended up having to like bleach it out from my hotel room in quarantine in New Zealand because I couldn't get this stuff out. But so I think that's scarred me for now. I'm thinking, right, this is hot off the press and it's not confirmed yet, but thinking like a candy floss pink going back into the regional setup for the Sparks. But open to suggestions and feedback on candy floss pink.
You know what?
Awkward silence.
I'm all here for anything pink, so I would take that.
Okay.
I still think a Birmingham Phoenix sort of patchy orange yellow, but that's coming from a ginger. So you talk about the Sparks and going back to the Sparks. Obviously, they've had quite a good season so far. Which have you enjoyed being part of the most? Has it been the Rachel Hayhoe Flint or the Charlotte Edwards? What's been great to get your teeth into?
I think if you look at our record, I'd probably say the Rachel Hayhoe Flint. No, I've enjoyed them both, actually. I think the Rachel Hayhoe was good because we had, not necessarily just because we had good games, but it was highlighted because we had some really good tight games, and, a nice win over the Vipers always helps, doesn't it? But I think the Charlotte Edwards has been a lot different, and I think kind of adjusting back to T20 cricket has been I think that's what we struggled with as a Sparks. Obviously, we haven't really played any T20s, not including county stuff, for a couple of years now. So I think that shorter form of the game is, just been trying to get our head around it. But I think the result of the weekend against Loughborough, it was a bit of a shaky one again, but we got over the line. So, we're moving in the right direction. I think we're really happy with it.
Yeah, and so do you think it is great for the women's game to have so much domestic cricket. Do you think that's something that's going to really boost the future? Girls are going to look up to people like you playing, but they've got 50 overs, 20 overs, and then the 100. So there's so much more cricket for female players to get their teeth into.
Yeah, massively. I think, for us as players, we're definitely enjoying having more cricket to play in a way, you're playing every week and then training 3-4 times around that. So obviously with the 100 now, it's going to be absolutely mental, but I think it's so positive as well. And the more cricket there is, the more cricket people can watch. And I think, like you said, hopefully more girls will be watching. They've got a choice of 50 over, T20 and 100 ball now. So, and even test match cricket, that's coming back. So if you're more of a chilled out kind of vibe, then that's there for you. So I think it is really important that we're playing more cricket, and hopefully it's going to draw a lot more people into the game.
And also, just on the topic of the different formats, for you as a bowler, is there a certain skill set that you have for the different competitions, or is it just fine-tuning it? Say you bowl 10 overs in the Hayhoe Flint, and then just fine-tuning it for the 4 overs that you bowl in the 2020?
Yeah, so I think obviously the fundamental skills, I reckon, are pretty similar. We talk a lot about 50 over cricket, being a boring bowler and just kind of giving yourself a spell and keeping plugging away, and eventually you'll get the breakthrough. Whereas I think T20 is more, I'd say you probably got to think a bit more as a bowler. I might be entirely wrong here, but I reckon you've probably got a wider variation of balls you're going to bowl at any one stage, and then kind of just being clever about when you're going to bowl them and what fields you're going to set to each of them. So I'd definitely say they're different, but fundamentally the same. And obviously transferable skills, you could bowl a Yorker in the last 10 of a 50 over, and that's completely normal. But equally you could bowl it in just after the power play in a 20 over, and that's calm as well. So there is definitely a massive crossover, but you're right, there is a definite difference as well.
And we can't talk about the different formats without bringing up the test match. And we obviously had that amazing landmark test match in the recent England-India series. Is that something you would have your eye on for the future, pulling on that white jersey to match the white hair and just get it all right? How would you adjust your play for that kind of match?
I think test matches, 50 over is obviously doing T20 for longer, and test match, the way I see it, is more complicated way of doing 50 over for longer. So, it's just being really, really repeatable in those skills.
And would you have your eye on a spot in a test team? Would that be the dream?
I think every kid wants to play test cricket, don't they? I mean, I remember I was a bit young for the Ashes 05, but when I was 10, they made us watch it over, and they'd start sit us down at lunch, and they'd be like, right, okay, I'm going to watch the Ashes 05. I was like, I don't know what's going on here, but cool. And, I think everyone, especially kind of my age and above, really, when you grew up, we watched test match cricket because that was, T20 wasn't quite there as it is now, 50 over stuff, but it was test cricket that was on the telly. So who doesn't aspire to play test cricket? In a really long-winded answer for you.
In short, yes, you would love to play test.
In short, yes.
And so growing up, you would have been, I mean, you're a bit younger than I am. As you say, you were 10 when you were watching reruns of 2005 Ashes. I was 10 when the 2005 Ashes was on. So a bit different. But who would you say were your role models when you were growing up watching cricket, or did you just get involved and then find out who you thought you wanted to be?
I wouldn't say before I got into the game I didn't know too much, so I just kind of went and had fun. But I think once I got, obviously, Catherine Brunt, you know, she's been absolutely fantastic for so long, and you know, she is probably a massive role model, especially not even especially when I was younger, she still is now. But I remember so Brendan McCullum, I think it was 2014, he came and played for the Birmingham Bears, and I remember I was at the match against Derbyshire, and he scored 158 in a T20, and he just whacked it. And I remember being like, wow, this is cool. Like, he's just whacked it everywhere. And then that year, I kind of followed him, saw what he was doing. And that was the first year I watched the IPL religiously. He was playing for the Chennai Super Kings at the time, and I just loved it. So I guess he got me into the IPL, I guess. And yeah, loved it. Absolutely loved it.
And do you think if there were to be a women's IPL in the near or far future, that's something you'd want to join?
Oh, definitely. I think, you know, you're always looking to push yourself against the best players and at the highest standards you can. And, you know, there are some cracking players around the world right now. And if you look at the men's IPL, it's just a festival of fantastic cricketers, really, isn't it? So yeah, it's definitely something that'd be really, really cool, and hopefully that can be a thing soon.
Just on your bowling, talk us through your action. Where does the pace come from? And also, do you have any tips for any aspiring bowlers to get that pace up?
Yeah, so I've done quite a lot of work with Lloyd Tennant, obviously, as our Sparks head coach now, but previously I worked with him as a bowling coach, and we've worked quite hard there's not been any major changes we've made, but just kind of streamlining a few things and keeping everything going towards the target, really. I think that's the main goal. I think I found personally I bowl quickest when it's all kind of in sync, and he says about it like everything just snaps into place, and I think that's quite nice. And it happens like one after the other, whereas when things are happening at the wrong time, then you lose a bit of momentum and then things don't really go to plan. So I think that's what we've kind of been working on. And action wise, yeah, like I said, just keeping everything going at the stumps. What I'd say to a younger person, I would probably say just have fun and just challenge yourself. Don't let anyone tell you, what I used to hate as a kid, don't try and bowl too fast. When I was like 10, and I'd be like, just having fun, just running as fast as I can. And don't try and bowl too fast. You might bowl a wide. And I'd be like, does it matter though? I just get to bowl it again. Like, great news. But I think especially like as younger, like just keep going and keep pushing yourself. And, you know, I found a lot, like the action will come when you get older and you do it more, but like just really push yourself and just have fun with it and enjoy it, because, you know, you're never going to put any hard work into something you don't enjoy. You know, I didn't put much work into English at school because I didn't enjoy it, but, you know, bowling, I love bowling. So I'll work hard for bowling because I enjoy it.
And is there anyone you sort of base your action on, or is it just natural to what came to you?
Not really, I don't think. We've kind of took bits and bobs from people, but yeah, I think we're very much focused on, you know, working what we've got. And, you know, what comes naturally to me is 9 times out of 10 going to be the best thing for my body and the best thing for my bowling. So why try and replicate that? But, you know, obviously you look at people and you think, oh, like, what's that doing? Like, could we use it here? Could we use it there? But yeah.
And so you've played in these various teams around the country, domestic, KSL, like Rachel Hayhoe Flint, Charlotte Edwards, and pre-COVID, you got to play with some international players and against different ones. Who has been the most, not starstruck by them, but your favourite to play against or with, and the most inspiring you've seen on the pitch?
The most inspiring? I tell you what, playing with Susie Bates was pretty cool at the Vipers. She was just such a calm head, and you know, she's been there, she's done it, she's class. Everyone knows she's class. I remember she won us a game against, I want to say, Yorkshire Diamonds at the Ageas Bowl, and she was bowling the last over and defending 6, and she's like, oh, wow, what a legend, Suze. But yeah, I think the thing that struck me about Susie was she was just so calm. I remember she captained one of the warm-up games we had, and we had a big chat. I was going to bowl a slower ball, and she was like, right, what field do you want? I was like, I'd probably have those two. And she goes, Wong, I don't think they're going to hit you over your head. And I was like, oh, like, okay. She goes, let's bring that one in. And if they hit you over your head, then I owe you. I was like, okay. Ran in, bowled it, got hit over my head. And she was like, she just came back to me. She was like, oh well, I owe you. And I was like, yeah, to be fair, you know, just very chilled. I think that was massive and just really relaxed, which was nice. Playing against, I know I've played with her as well, but Amy Jones, when she's on song, goodness me. I remember I bowled at her at the Ageas Bowl again against Lightning, and I think she got 80 red in T20 and just looked very good. And, you know, you're kind of running in thinking, not sure where this is going to go when it comes off the bat, because it could go anywhere, including 10 rows back. You know, you saw how she batted against Storm this season. She's absolutely outstanding. So she's up there as well.
And so obviously she's a Sparks teammate of yours. Do you feel like you've got a good set of hands behind the sticks when you're bowling with Amy there?
Well, we've got her for the 100 as well. I've been quite lucky, but she's outstanding. She's outstanding. She makes very hard things look very easy, which I think is one of the things that people don't necessarily appreciate. And I think we definitely don't appreciate her as a team as much, just because she does make it look so easy. You know, it never looks like she's doing anything spectacular, but you watch the replay, you're like, she's done that. And, you know, it is remarkable. So, yeah, complete trust in her behind the stumps as well. You know, who wouldn't? She's the best keeper in the world.
We can't talk to Issy Wong, speed bowler, without talking about the 80 miles an hour barrier. How does it feel to think that you could potentially do that? And there is talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, that's like, you know, I think a lot of people talk about it, but it's not really something that's really in my mind. Like, I don't think about it. Like, I don't wake up and think, oh yeah. Do you know what I mean? I think I said it initially as a bit of a throwaway comment. Not a throwaway comment, but just as a sort of, well, someone's got to eventually. So it's got to be someone, and, you know, why not push yourself? But yeah, I mean, not necessarily imminent, I think, but it's definitely something that I think women's cricket as a whole is probably working towards around the world. And, you know, there are some cracking bowlers out there, aren't there? So, you know, it's not necessarily a race, but, you know, I'm sure that someone's going to get there eventually. So why not have a go?
So just on your bowling, is there anything in particular in your run-up when you're going through the process of your run-up? Is there anything particularly that you're thinking about in your mind, or are you just trying to just be like, bowl it full and straight?
This is really weird. So I've changed my run-up probably the last year or so. But before that, I used to count my steps. And it was like the only thing I did when I was running it. I can remember I'd go like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And it was like just a thing I did. I didn't do it on purpose. I just kind of got into the habit of it. Maybe I just know when to bowl when I got to 10. But I don't think I think of anything much now. Just trying to keep in training, I guess, trying to keep going and not lose any momentum. So once I've got going, just gradually trying to build up that pace in the run up. But then I think when you're in a game, you know, hopefully you've done all the prep. So once you're on the pitch, you can just focus on what you're trying to bowl. And I think looking for cues off the bat as well, because, you know, people move about the crease and stuff like that. So you've, to a certain extent, got to be watching them. And if they start moving about and misbehaving, then you've got, right, what am I going to do here? Because if I bowl it where I was going to bowl it, am I going to get whacked? If I bowl it somewhere else, am I going to get whacked? So, yeah, I think just trying to be really clear and then, you know, enabling you to make those decisions last minute if needed.
And so obviously we're talking to you as you've just entered the Birmingham Phoenix 100 bubble. How are you feeling about the 100 starting? Because we saw you last week talking all about gender parity, which is just something amazing for this. What's the plan looking to the 100? Is there a new plan, game plan, or are you just buzzing to get going?
Buzzing to get going, absolutely buzzing to get. We had our first session today and it was just like, it was amazing. It wasn't even like that amazing. It's the same nets we usually use at Sparks. Yeah, it was like the same outfield we'd fielding on. It was the same changing room, but I was like, oh my God, this is awesome. Loved it, absolutely loved it. It just felt like really special. We've got a really good group of girls here. So yeah, just really looking forward to getting underway and playing some matches. But, you know, it just feels like a massive event. And, you know, I'm pretty sure I'm going to love it as a player. So hopefully people can love watching it and get involved in cricket.
And on the gender parity side, obviously you're staying in the same bubble hotel as boys. Do you feel like that's a really big step?
Yeah, massively. I think it was mentioned the other week that the kind of one club, two teams mantra. And I think that's, that is massive. And I think that shows the women's game kind of definitely going in the right direction. And not just the women's game, but the game in general, I say. Yeah, it is really exciting. Obviously, it's pretty nice. I've made a mess of it already. I've been here 20 minutes. But yeah, I think it's massive for us that we feel like really valued and like we've got kind of that sense of responsibility that, we can go out there and perform and stuff like that.
And just on your 100 team, you are playing for the Birmingham Phoenix. Was there ever a possibility that you'd play for somewhere else, or did you ever consider playing for somewhere else, or was it always going to be Birmingham Phoenix?
I think it's always going to be Birmingham Phoenix, really. I mean, I was actually born in London, but the entirety of my cricket career has been in Birmingham, and I'd definitely say it's my home city. I've lived here 15 years, and I absolutely love it, and especially the West Midlands as a whole. What cricket in the West Midlands has done for me and given me, I'm so grateful for. So to actually be able to go out there at my home stadium for my home team in my home city and just go out there and give a tiny, tiny little bit back, I'm just so grateful for. And hopefully other people can get as much from cricket as I've got from it, because, it's mad, really. And yeah, I'm really excited to play for Birmingham, to be honest. Never in doubt, I'd say. I mean, they might not want me next year, but, this year, I'm here. You can't get rid of me.
And so, obviously, we spoke to your mum when we were talking about...
Legend.
Mother's Day things. Yes, the legend that fed you cheese rolls.
Yeah, love a cheese roll.
Is your family someone that really supports you through your cricket career, and you chat to them all the time while you're in the bubble?
Yeah, they've been really supportive. Both my parents are actually really clever. They both went to Cambridge and did all sorts of intelligent things. But, I wouldn't say there was never any academic stress, but certainly they the thing when I was growing up, and same with my brother, was always, if you don't enjoy it, don't do it. So I played quite a lot of tennis when I was little. Buster started playing tennis when he was old enough to play tennis, and he was rubbish at it and hated it. And they were like, right, let's just stop then. And sorry, Buster, I've just outed you for being bad at tennis. I'm sure you'll get over it. But yeah, I think that was just so important. It just really supportive of everything. Just if you don't enjoy it, don't do it. And at school, well, obviously I went away to boarding school for for 5 years. And I think the kind of communications from my parents and the house mistress and the cricket staff, was all really good. That when I got to kind of 15, 16, they were like, oh, Izzy, what do you want to do? Do you want to go to university? Do you want to study? Do you want to be a weather girl? Do you want to play cricket? And I was like, well, I want to play cricket. And they were like, right, okay, we know where your priorities are as your parents, as your house mistress, as your coaches. So let's make that happen. And if you're late to a lesson because you've been in the gym, or, we'll cut you slack. And, everyone's really good about that. So definitely, I think the whole environment has been massive. But yeah, I'll definitely something in the bubble. We've just got a cat as well, Ziggy. She's like the cutest cat I've ever seen. So I'm going to be FaceTiming them to speak to Zig, and them, of course.
And so if you were a weather girl, would you be able to predict it for these games instead of them being washed out?
Well, I mean, I'd like to say it's going to be very sunny. I mean, that conversation, that was an actual conversation. I'm not just putting that up. So we chose our GCSE options at the end of year 9, and so there were 3 humanities. So there's history, geography, and philosophy, which was RE. So I basically didn't want to do any humanities for my GCSEs. And I remember when they pulled our whole year, in our house, so 15 of us, maybe not 15, 10. And we were sat in the office, and they were like, right, okay, what are you doing? And it was I'm doing geography, French and Latin. Okay. And they're like, Wongy, what are you doing? And I was like, DT, computer science and PE. And everyone was like, why aren't you doing a humanity? I was like, well, I don't like humanities. And they were like, what if you want to be a weather girl? And I literally looked at them, and then I looked down, and then I looked back at them. I was like, trust me, I don't want to be a weather girl. No offense to weather girls, they do a great job, but you know, I'd rather play cricket in the nice weather than be a weather girl, I think.
You never know. If cricket doesn't work, you could be the Birmingham Phoenix weather girl. You could.
I mean, I've heard it's a key role. I have heard it's a key role. But
I should have applied.
Is it Becky Wood? Becky Wood, the lady who does the Bears Den TV. She's a weather girl, and she's not very good at predicting the weather.
I go by Carol on BBC Breakfast. Yeah, so you're back in the bubble. It's bubble life. When's your first game? How long have we got now?
So I actually have a calendar. I've got a Where's Wally calendar.
Where's Wally?
You didn't think this would come out, did you? So what day is it today? Thursday. We've got a warm-up match next Wednesday. And then our first game is next Friday at Edgbaston, the Fortress.
And will you be watching the first game between the Oval Invincibles and Manchester Originals, which is going to be obviously mega on Wednesday? First game of ever.
Yeah. So exciting. Of course. I mean, we finish at 12:30 our warm-up game that day. So I will be tuning in to watch that because, oh my god, like it's just so exciting, isn't it? And you know, you've got to scout the other teams as well. But yeah, I just like watching cricket, to be honest. So I'll be tuning in, of course, to watch that massive spectacle.
You mentioned earlier also about how the men's team and the women's team are both under one brand, which you really liked. How important for you as a player is it that the prize money is equal for this tournament?
I think it's really important. You know, it's paving the way in women's sport. You know, I don't think there are too many sports where that's the case. And yeah, I think it's really important that, you know, we feel valued as, you know, part of the competition. And yeah, it's massive for us that, you know, it's getting there. We're going in the right direction. And I think it's just really exciting. And it's such an exciting time to be involved in women's cricket.
And so it's just going to get bigger and better from here, I think. What about you? I
mean, you know, fingers crossed. We like going forwards and we like going up. We don't like going down and backwards. So, you know, hopefully everything can keep going and keep moving in the right direction. I think part of it, you know, there is responsibility on us as players to do that because, you know, if we all play really badly, then, you know, people won't want to watch it. And so I think, but it is nice that, you know, we're getting the backing, especially from, you know, the ECB, the 100, just to be able to go out and play cricket and express ourselves and, you know, get the rewards for that.
And talking of moving forwards and upwards, I'm guessing forwards and upwards for you is England. Have you got your eyes on a spot in the next year, 2 years? You know, where are you going from here? Or are you kind of focusing on the here and now?
It's a really tough one, isn't it? I think, you know, you can't get too carried away with what you think and what you want to do because, you know, you forget what you're doing now. And you know, nothing's ever going to happen in the future if you don't do anything now. So I try and just focus on what I'm doing. I mean, I reckon I'm a morning and afternoon girl. You know, I need to look in the morning, what am I doing this morning? And then the afternoon's a different story. But yeah, just trying to keep it really, really low key and just do what I'm doing now and do that to the best I can. And then we'll just do the next thing. And then we'll just do the next thing. And then we might go to bed and then do the next thing and just kind of keep going like that. And, you know, I know it's not very exciting to hear about, but yeah, like I said, just taking it as it is, and because that's the only bit that's guaranteed. You know, I never know what's going to happen. I don't even know what's going to happen tomorrow. I could fall down the stairs this afternoon, and that's me out of it. So I might as well do this afternoon the best I can, and because that's the only what I'm doing now is the only thing I've got, isn't it? Until the next bit happens, then I'll do that as best I can. So yeah, I mean, I'm not planning on falling down the stairs, but if it happens, then at least I've got a comfort in that I did this morning as best I could.
But if you were a weather girl and you fell down the stairs, you'd still be able to do it.
Well, I don't know, because they're always kind of standing and pointing and, you know, bringing in breezes from the west. So, you know, I feel like if you fell down the stairs, you might not have that in the locker anymore.
Okay, so to round off, Hannah and Alex normally do a few little fun questions. So Alex, can you kick it off?
Yeah, so I always like to start with this one, and it is favourite musician or artist.
Favourite musician or artist? That is a big question because it depends what mood I'm in. But I feel like as an unwritten rule, anything by Kygo is pretty good. I like the Royston Club at the moment, bit smaller, but some decent tunes, to be fair, but that's a bit more like, like not, ready to go sort of thing. Do I have a favourite song? I wouldn't say I have a favourite song, because like I said, it depends what I'm doing. If I'm in the gym, I don't want to be listening to, something a bit more laid back. But equally, if I'm just chilling, I don't want to be listening to something really, really heavy and in your face.
Favourite genre of music?
Favourite genre of music? That's actually a really hard question. I feel like I've got a pretty broad liking of music, really. I wouldn't say I've got a favourite genre. It's like I said earlier, it's just what I'm in the mood for, and sometimes I'm in the mood for like a bit of pop, just when it's just like easy. Like sometimes you want a bit more kind of alternative. Like sometimes I'm playing basketball on the PlayStation, I want a bit of rap. So it just, like I said, it just depends really.
What's your favourite sledge?
My favourite sledge? Oh, immediately in my head, I thought blue and plastic.
Yes, I also did. When I said it, I was thinking of you on the glacier, down you go. But your favourite?
Oh, I got excited. I was like, I've never been asked what my favourite sledge is before. No. What do I like? I like. It's a bit village, but I like when they've got a couple of edges, and you kind of go, this bat is batting like a polo, all edges, no middle. that is a personal favourite, but yeah, I tend to get put out on the ropes this season, so I haven't been able to get my teeth into anyone really, probably for the best.
And favourite wicket ever?
Favourite wicket ever? Oh, big question. Favourite wicket ever? By me or by someone else?
By you.
Okay, it wasn't a favourite wicket that I've watched, because that is an even bigger question. Favourite wicket by me? I think the one that got Gads out, Hove. I think just kind of the context of the wicket, obviously, she's scored a ridiculous amount of runs for the Vipers, so to kind of get her early, you're always going to be cock-a-hoop. But it was a pretty decent ball as well, so I'm not sure I've got it in the locker again, but that's got to be up there, I think.
Last TV show you binge watched?
Last TV show I binge watched. So I just finished watching. It's called Snowpiercer on Netflix, and it's a bit weird, to be fair, but it's kind of cool. And it's like basically the world's frozen over, and the only people that are living on this train, and they get like all sorts of like domestics going on, and they've been on this train for like 7 years. I got absolutely hooked on it. Do you know Kate George? Me and her were like watching it like together, and like loved it. Great, big fan. Shout out Kate George, watching Snowpiercer. Catch up.
The last book you read?
Last book I read. Again, a massive question. This is actually really embarrassing. The last book I reread Harry Potter.
There is nothing embarrassing about that. I'm here all day for that.
And yeah, that is the last kind of, I think that I kind of started them over Christmas, because the first couple are quite like Christmassy, like vibey, and then I was like, well, I've read the first two now, I might as well read the rest. So I'd probably say that's the last book I've read in its entirety.
And have you ever given anyone a really good send-off that you're really proud of?
Have I ever given someone? I gave Gads one that time. We've talked about it as well. We've cleared the air there, but I've given some like county A cricket. I've given some big ones. I've given some very big ones then, but I'd like to think I've matured. Actually, I've not matured since then. That's just a lie. I remember we had national finals, and I'd getting some stick from I think it was the parents on the side of the pitch. And then like said parent's daughter came in, and they were like shouting on like, come on, like daughter. And I was just like, what? Like, shut up. Like, leave me alone. I'm just trying to bowl. And they were like, oh, you're bowling, like, I bowled wide. And they were like, way. I was like, oh, ouch. So I ended up getting this girl out. I'm sure she was lovely, bless her, but I think I gave her a bit of a send-off then. Probably more aimed at her parents than her, though. So
I had this image of you giving the parents a send-off.
I think I might have given that.
Amazing. If you hadn't been a cricketer or a weather girl, what would you wanted to do?
What I wanted to do? I really wanted to be an astronaut until I kind of realised you've actually got to be really clever and do loads of studying for it. So I don't think that's a bit of me. I genuinely don't know. I mean, I've always been at the age where being a cricketer's kind of been a thing. So I guess I'm quite lucky there. But I don't know, maybe coaching. I quite like coaching. But then again, if I wasn't playing cricket, I probably wouldn't be that interesting. I don't know. A really good question. I'd say an astronaut, just because, you know, maybe I'd have stuck with the physics a bit longer and made it to the moon.
Hang on a second. You said you weren't clever, but didn't you get an A star and 2 A's at A level?
I actually did, yeah. It's a bit of a fluke. Well, not a bit of a fluke. I mean, I did the work, but I didn't have to sit in the exam, so I'm not sure if you can really count them, to be honest.
If I can get A stars at A level, anyone can.
There we go.
I feel you on that. Favourite ice cream flavour?
Favourite mint chocolate chip.
Oh, that was the quickest answer we've had all day.
That was very quick.
That's the quickest answer we've had on one of these. So points to Wongy. Favourite tea item? This is Hannah's favourite one to ask after favourite sled.
Well, like a mug?
Like a village cricket tea. Right, what you having? What would be your like go-to thing?
I can only think of mug and teaspoon.
I love a teaspoon.
Favourite item tea. I always quite liked, some places did chicken nuggets. That was always a novelty. I know. There was a rocky road at Worfield Cricket Club in Shropshire, and it is just absolutely unbelievable. And obviously teas aren't a thing. I played a club game a couple of weeks ago for Worfield, like against Worfield even. And obviously teas aren't a thing, but our manager had she'd messaged Worfield and be like, look, we know that teas aren't a thing, but please can you make us some of your Rocky Road, because it is the highlight of most of these girls' trips to Worfield. And yeah, it was unbelievable. So that is my favourite item of tea, actually. I've scrapped the chicken nuggets. They're a novelty, but they're nothing on this Rocky Road.
So shout out to Worfield. Issy Wong would like Rocky Road delivered to her bubble, please.
They know it as well. They know it. They know I love it. They know I love it. I took a stint on school ring just so I could, dip into the box a few more times.
Just, give her a year's worth of free supplies and she'll just post it on the gram and be done with it.
Get it on the gram. This unbelievable. Genuinely, I've got no words for this Rocky Road. It is elite.
Well, it is a rocky road that we'll tread.
I feel a bit humbled.
Yeah, and with that horrendous pun, we can round up if you like. Alex, you got anything else to ask?
Just quickly, Izzy, for our listeners, if they want to follow the great Issy Wong, the Wongatron, Wongton, whatever you want to.
I am the Wong.
You can claim that.
Yes, Georgie Heath will claim the Wongaton. Where can our listeners find you on social media, on Twitter, on Instagram? Maybe not TikTok, because we have a wide variety.
I don't actually have TikTok. I feel like I'm the only person under the age of 20 that doesn't have TikTok, but I'm not mad about it. I'm quite glad about it, actually.
I'm actually so proud.
Thanks. Twitter and Instagram, I think, is Wongy95. Keep it simple. Yeah, I'm there.
Massive thank you to Wongy for coming on and being a guest on the podcast, and I'm sure there's a way we can get Wongy Free Rocky Road and a partnership with Worfield Cricket Club. Worfield, if you're listening, Issy Wong is down for a collab. But in all seriousness, it was really great to talk to Izzy about cricket and about how the game is evolving, and she is very articulate for someone so young. And to all our listeners, if you want to keep up to date with everything we're doing, you can follow us on Twitter at WCricketChat and on Instagram at Women's Cricket Chat. And if you want to give us a like on Facebook, we are Women's Cricket Chat. And if you wanted to give our personal Twitters a follow, Hannah is at HannahT1194 and I'm at Alex Jane Pereira. This has been Women's Cricket Chat. Tune in next time.